It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace. Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and NFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. You know what it is, man. It's Fan Friday, man. We're getting into everything that y'all want to talk about. We're getting you guys on the show right away. But first, definitely want to make sure that you guys listen to Locked On 49ers podcast with myself, Brian Peacock. We previewed the 49ers against the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to be talking about it some more on this show as well. Also, listen to Locked On NFL Draft. Finally started previewing and giving my analysis on the cornerbacks from this class. We went over three guys: Roger McCreary, McDuffie, and Job out of Alabama. All right, so get into, digging into these prospects, cornerbacks. You guys might want to hear that. So Locked On NFL Draft for that content right there. Also, of course, this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. All right, Underdog Fantasy. Download the app or go to underdogfantasy.com. All right, and you already know if you're at the right place, if you see that right there, that logo right there, underdogfantasy.com, go ahead, download the app, and go make you some money. I already saw a couple people in my mentions. Hey, Croc, I use this. I made money. Hey, Croc, look at, I made $200, or no, somebody made $500 last night. So, usually I go over it with y'all on Fridays. But, yeah, it doesn't have to just be about 49ers, which we did a good job last week. All right, but it can be about any game that's on. So Underdog Fantasy, download the app. Also, Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com right now. And when you use my promo code Croc, you'll get 20% off of everything that's on the Manscaped website. Right? You know what I'm saying? Get you right a little bit. Get you right. All right. But it's Friday, man. We getting into it. We getting y'all on here. We're talking about it. Everything that y'all want to talk about, we're getting into it this morning. And as well, we are going to give our predictions. Does Kittle get 1,000 yards this season? Man, what he got? 4 games and he has about 300 yards to get. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The tough thing with George Kittle is you don't know how they're going to utilize him. And that's the craziest thing. I argue with my buddies all the time, group text. And they're like, man, Kelce, he the best. And I'm like, man, yes, Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league. But Travis Kelce is not the best tight end in the league. Like, if you just tell me for one game, I need Travis Kelce or George Kittle, who can I have? And I can have any quarterback, I'm taking George Kittle. Now, if you want to say one guy definitely is healthier, he's always going to be on the field. If you want to count on his production from game to game because of who his quarterback is, then yeah, man, I'm going with Travis Kelce. But in the sense of who I just think is just flat out better, come on, man. It's George Kittle. I think he's the best tight end in the game. All right, but anyways, man, I know that a lot of y'all probably saw my picture I just posted on Twitter. If you're not following me, at Eric_Crocker on Twitter. And my mother-in-law, she's pulling in onto my property and crashed into a ditch. I don't even know how she did that, man. I don't know. But yeah, she cut her turn too tight, crashed into a ditch. But then she gonna tell me, Eric, can you pull my car out the ditch? But she talking about me push it out. She wanted me to push the car out the ditch. If you guys haven't seen it, go to my Twitter page. You'll see it on one of my most recent posts at Eric_Crocker on Twitter. Shoot that follow. Ask me questions. I get DMs all the time. I try to answer as many as I can. All right. But the crazy thing with my DMs, I think most people look at me as a 49er content creator, but I have a lot of DMs from kids because I coach and train athletes as well. So, man, there's a lot that goes on in the DMs. It goes down in the DMs. But I appreciate everybody with any type of interaction. Like I said, I'm going to put the link in the chat early on for y'all. I appreciate everybody that has contributed to the show. Also, everybody that contributed to the relief fund with the tornado relief fund with Northeast Arkansas. As you guys know, I am living in Arkansas, and tornado ripped through the northeast part of Arkansas. Also, I think it touched Kentucky or something up in that way. We'll just keep this up top of the morning, everyone. Stay warm. It's hella cold outside. It's hella cold outside. It's actually not that cold out here in Arkansas right now. But that so if you guys see the Eric Hulk Crocker references, they're talking about me having to pull my mother-in-law's car out the ditch, which I would not be able to pull that car out the ditch. Somebody's gonna have to come help with the tractor trailer and all that type of stuff, which we have on this. So again, appreciate everybody that's in here. Hey man, last night right here, K dot Croc, what your wife did to the kitchen looks good, don't it? It does look good, huh? It does look good. It does. It was like this red. So she went through and did take all the cabinets out, had to take them all off, all the drawers, all that stuff. She spray painted all the handles, a matte black, did the whole kitchen white. Like it does. It looks nice. It looks nice. She did her thing with that. What is hella cold in Arkansas? No, it can get cold. It can get cold. Last year, around February or March, there was like this snowstorm that came through. It was like 2 degrees for like 5 straight days. So it's typically not cold like that. I compare it. It really feels like Stockton. So where I live in Arkansas, it feels more like Stockton, California. If y'all know anything about Stockton, or like Central Valley, Modesto, Fresno, all that whole area, Sacramento, it feels more like Stockton. But in the summer, it just gets way more humid. So if you can imagine like Stockton heat, but with like humidity behind it. So Arkansas feels like that in the summer. And then in the winter, it still feels more like Stockton, but I think it might be like a little colder sometimes. Like sometimes mornings would be like, 30 degrees, and it kind of stays like it could stay between 30 and 45, 48 degrees. Whereas like Stockton, it could start off cold, but then it kind of, gets in the 50s or low 60s or whatever. So yeah. Who's Jada Marshall from Stockton? Yeah, so Jada Marshall, that's my little dog, man. Jaden, his brother goes to Arizona State, multi-sport athlete, football, basketball, track. Yeah, brothers at Arizona State running track. Jaden, he's committed to UCLA. And yeah, he's committed to UCLA. He's a receiver on the football field. You can tell when he runs, he has like the stride of a track guy. But funny kid. So yeah, that's who Jaden is. That's my dog. That's my little homie right there. Funny dude. He played on our 7-on-7 team. So yeah, Jay Marshall played on our 7-on-7 team. A lot of kids, man. Anybody that comes out of Stockton, usually I either know them or definitely know who they are. I've seen all these kids, especially through 7-on-7 and stuff like that, coaching them and all that. It's been so dope. That's been the best thing, man. To see all my kids that I coached in 7-on-7 getting out. You know what I'm saying? Like that is awesome. Like signing, kids that I had in when they were in the 7th grade, 8th grade, and like just bad little kid running around, and then to see them now. Jaden wasn't one of the little bad little kids, but you ever met the Diaz brothers? Yeah, man. We both, me and the Diaz brothers, man, we from Northside Stockton. You feel me? So I have met Diaz brothers. I never really met them around. I went to school with one, but Tokyo High School, but it wasn't he like dropped out or something. And it wasn't like, oh, that's the Diaz brother right there. You know what I'm saying? When we was in high school, it was like, okay, like you don't really know. He wasn't playing football or nothing. So, you know what I'm saying? How I'm supposed to know who this dude is. So yeah, Stockton. We all from Northside Stockton. We went to high school in Lodi because we from the same exact area. And how they have it in Stockton, when you live deep Northside, when I was growing up, they bused you to Tokyo High School. Now they built a high school out there at McNair. So we would have all went to McNair. Me, the Diaz brothers, we would have went to McNair. Nah, man. I ain't from no townhomes, man. 4,400. Nah, I'm from 2,400 Northside. Come on, man. Stop playing. But yeah, I know townhomes. Speaking of townhomes, and we're going to get to 49er talk. Speaking of townhomes, a dude from townhomes, 44 G's. Matter of fact, Brandon Cooks, he from that area. Brandon Cooks, yeah, he's from that area. He should put it on his cleats. But there's a dude, man, what's his name? Dude went viral. He went viral for the he like a model. He was like posing or whatever. Not posing, like they took his mugshot and all the girls loved him. So he was a real like Crip from, you know what I'm saying? He's from the north side from townhomes. And I don't want to say what he was from townhomes. And like had this mugshot. Everybody loved him. And now he's like hella like he dates he's supermodel. Like it was like he got out of jail. He's like a supermodel. And then now he's married to this chick. They just had a kid. Like she's a billionaire. Like that's the craziest story I've ever seen. And as you see, you already know. You already know, man. You already know. We're about to get to the 49ers talk. I appreciate everybody that's in here. Everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to all my Stocktonians. You feel me? Jeremy Meeks. That's his name. Yeah. Jeremy Meeks. My homie know him. Yeah. He's from over there. He was from over there. he came up. You know what I'm saying? But you look at his profile, it say it too. Like he was NSGC. You know what I'm saying? So that's funny, man. But anyways, man, let's talk about 49ers. You already know what it is. I want to hear you guys come on, give your thoughts, talk about all that. Hey, tell Jesse, should I get Jesse on before I get the fans on? Jesse, do you want to come in here? If you want to come on, Jesse, and just have a little conversation, 10, 15 minutes or so, come on, Jesse. If so, or Aponte or Jesse, or both. Aponte, Jesse, y'all want to come on, man? I'll shoot y'all the links. Y'all will come on first. We'll get your guys' thoughts on this game because everybody's been listening to me all week. I didn't have any guests on. All right, Jesse, the DM is coming. All right. Also, Jesse, he kind of punked me into telling them who was Jesse punked me into telling him who the guest is coming on. Here we go. All right, both of y'all should receive the DMs now to come on. This is cool because to not have to talk by yourself the whole time. We got a round table coming on. Shout out to my guy Rich. He put this together. He said, "Man, you got to get those guys on." So they're coming on. Let's go. Good morning, everybody. You already know what it is, man. This is San Francisco 49ers morning show. I should call it the radio show because that's what I feel like this is. I feel like a radio DJ. Get my guys on. I sent the invite, so they should be coming on any second now. Get their thoughts on this game. The good, the bad, the ugly. Get their predictions. Then get the fans on. Listen to what y'all got to say. Let's go. I should change the title because 49ers Fan Friday, nobody really like tunes into that. But if I were to put like Jimmy Garoppolo sucks, everybody would tune in. I'd have 200 people in here. But when they see Fan Friday, they just gonna stay away. Here we go. Got my guy Aponte on. Aponte, what's good, man? How you doing this morning?
What's up, bro? Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Today's Spider-Man day, so I'm doing nerd shit all day today. I'm on my way to the movie theater and everything, so I'm glad I got a chance to tap in real quick, though, so we could talk football. I know I was supposed to be on the other day, but was doing some things with the little one, but got to get to Spider-Man now before people spoil that shit, man.
Oh, yeah, all good. Oh, real quick, my guy Crazy said, what hoodie is that? All right, and sometimes I'll go on Twitter and I'll ask guys to like, hey, if you know somebody that has a clothing line or something like that I could support, like, hey, hit me with a link and I'll buy a hoodie, I'll buy a t-shirt, whatever. And I bought this hoodie and it says run for touchdowns, not cover. So yeah, run for touchdowns, not for cover. And it's for the kids. So yeah, somebody had an organization. Hoodies was only $25. I definitely went and copped one. So yeah, I like to do that sometimes throughout the year. Go and just support someone's brand and whatnot. This is worth the price of admission.
Shout out to Richard, man.
Thanks,
What's
Rich.
up, buddy?
Yeah, we're waiting on Jesse. Jesse loading up right now.
Croc, let me ask you, man. Did you lift that car completely out the ditch yourself? Like just like two arms?
Oh man, I squatted down, got in a good squat stance, lifted it up, tossed it to the side. Nah, it's still sitting over there in the
bro, why is
the
that the
right
first
now.
thing? Why is that the first thing when I open Twitter? I seen that and then like your response to like, what am I, the Hulk to get that out, man? That shit had me crying.
Well, when she said it, I'm just thinking, when she first told me, I'm thinking like, I'm just gonna be able to push it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I can get down. Okay, let me push it. Like, you don't have a big car. You got this little ass car. Like, all right. And then when I saw it, and it's like right, like dug into the corner, and I'm like, I'm not pulling that out. Like, what do I look like, the Hulk? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, that's dead, bro. Like her, the car. We're getting it out though. We are gonna get it out, but yeah, it's still in there for sure. All right, man. I got my guy Jesse, and I got my guy Jason Aponte. Both. Ooh, my bad. That was an accident. I meant to click down the super chat. Both of my guys have their own platforms on social media, on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Jesse Aponte. I mean, Jesse Aponte.
That's
Jason
a mixture
Aponte,
right there.
Yeah.
Right. Jason Aponte has a Sprint Right podcast. Sprint Right Option podcast is on YouTube. Make sure you guys go tune into that as well. We got Jesse. He has Last Second Sports. He's talking 49ers as well. So make sure you guys tune into both of those guys' platforms. They do an amazing job. I tune in. I have my notifications set. So anytime they go live, I'm able to pop in at any time. I appreciate both of you guys coming on, spur of the moment.
Yeah, you invited me, I think, last week, and I wasn't able to make it. So happy I was able to make it this time.
And I got you. And then this is dope to do this with Jesse too. Like, we have a bunch of people on here now. So this is good, man. We're gonna bounce some ideas off each other. I'm excited.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So first, I want to ask you, Jesse, 49ers versus Falcons. If I were to tell you 49ers won 31-13, what exactly did the 49ers do to win in that fashion?
Well, I think one thing that they would have done is continue to force multiple turnovers. That's a trend that the 49ers have had over the last 5 games. You look at the way that the season started, Croc, there was multiple games where they got 0 turnovers. I think they forced like 2 turnovers over the first 6 games, something minimal like that. But over the last 5 games, they forced multiple turnovers. So that'd be the first thing that I would look at is the turnover battle. How many turnovers did they force versus how many did they give up? Are they protecting the football and are they taking the football away? That would be the biggest thing.
Are you one that believes that for the 49ers to win this game, and I'll ask you, Jason, are you one to believe that for the 49ers to win this game, they have to run the ball a certain amount of times? Or do you think like, they can win in multiple ways? That's just more of the ideal way to win.
Yeah, they can absolutely win in multiple ways. I mean, when you look at the Falcons, they're dead last in pass rush. And that lends itself to the fact that we obviously know AJ Terrell is one of the highest graded quarterbacks, right? And he's doing a phenomenal job. And Leo put out a stat talking about where he's graded. And he pointed out that pass rush has not been covering him up. He's been very good. But at the same time, you don't really have to worry about this Falcons team, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know how they got to 6 wins, technically. Like, really, like when I realistically watch them, I have no idea how they won 6 games, but that's the league, right? So the 49ers don't have to have some 40 pass attempts, keep the ball out of Jimmy's hands. If they don't commit turnovers, if they play their game, Jimmy will complete enough passes, they can win in multiple ways, man. I really, like, this is not a letdown game, in my opinion. There's no way this is a trap game, especially because a trap game for me, and I've heard you say this before, Croc, is a 9-3 team facing a 6-7 team or something like that. There's a 7-6 team facing a 6-7 team. Handle your business. Like, there's no trap game here. Like, don't just handle your business.
All right, so Jesse, I have a question for you. The 49ers are in the midst of a playoff run right now, with Jimmy Garoppolo starting at quarterback there at 7-5. Why do you think that there is so much pushback on Jimmy Garoppolo? And really, between the fans, there are some people that are way over here or some that are way over here in the sense of what Jimmy Garoppolo is.
Yeah, well, I think it's twofold, Croc. You've got a rookie that's waiting in the wings, right? A player that most of us are excited about. We want to see this guy play. So the fact that he's not playing and we're seeing every other rookie play and develop in front of our eyes, that's going to put pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo to play well. And every time he doesn't, people are going to talk about it. And then the other thing is the money he makes. He makes a lot of money. I think he's top 5 in paid quarterbacks for just this season, right? You got Mahomes who got the big contract, but he pushed some of that money back. So he's not getting paid near as much. And some of these guys that are making a lot less than him are producing at a much higher level than he is. And so anytime that you have that scenario, you're going to have that happen. And I think the last thing, Croc, is for me, when you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, 2019, this team had a dominant run game and a dominant defense. This year, that is not the case. Jimmy Garoppolo, to me, is the same exact player that he was in 2019. However, this team is a lot more reliant on him than what they were in 2019. So you're seeing mediocre quarterback play, right? Which means there are times where he plays really well, but there are times that he doesn't play so well. And with that, what's happening is because the team is relying on him, you're seeing mediocre team play. In 2019, they could make it through that play. Whether he played great or not, that team could win because they could run the ball and they could play defense. That is not necessarily the case this year. And so when he is not playing great, you see those glaring weaknesses a lot more. And when he is playing well, you see that a lot more as well. So there's three things that play into that, in my opinion.
Right. And, Jason, what are kind of some of your thoughts on that? You look at Jimmy Garoppolo, and again, the fans are kind of really split, and he's a topic of discussion every week. And I went on there yesterday and told people, every team, it doesn't matter what the fan base is, the quarterback is typically the topic of discussion, at least to start, and then they kind of move on from there. When it comes to the case of Jimmy Garoppolo, a quarterback who most people are kind of confused or conflicted with what he is, everybody's on all different sides of it. So what side do you lie on, Jason, when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo and what he is as a quarterback for the 49ers?
I mean, honestly, obviously I was somebody who wanted Justin Fields, right? I wanted the rookie to start. So when Lance was added, I said, okay, just, rip the Band-Aid off and run with the kid, right? But obviously I don't know better than Kyle Shanahan. And Kyle Shanahan, we talked about it a bunch. He is feeling the pressure in terms of he needs to make the playoffs right now. A lot of people are talking about results, okay? You're in your fifth season, you've only made the playoffs once. So obviously he felt that Jimmy Garoppolo gave him the best chance to win. And obviously there's the locker room dynamic that we talked about when it comes to that. In terms of like where I fall on what's going on with Jimmy Garoppolo, man, there are moments where obviously there's those possible interceptions that happen. And then he does things like those last two drives at the end of the game that I think accentuates a lot of people's anger when it comes to my bad, bro.
You're good.
There's a lot of what accentuates that conversation is the inconsistencies, right? And that's what gets people upset. For every time there's one of those throws that you're like, oh my God, what was that? He'll just come out and he'll light it up like for the last two drives, like in Cincinnati. So it's really strange, right? Everybody has their opinion. Everybody has the way that they feel. They think the rookie should play. I was one of those people, but I gave that up pretty quickly. Like when I got to camp and we started like hearing what people are saying. And the one thing that Kyle Shanahan has been consistent on is Jimmy's our starter until he's not, and until it's time that they're mathematically eliminated. Right now they're in a playoff spot. So it's for the people that want to see Trey, it's tough for me to sit there and say, give it up. But it's almost at a point where it's just like, mathematically, how many games are left? You're not going to see Trey Lance at this point. Like, it is what it is. And, just set your eyes to next year because he's going to be the guy.
I do think we'll see Trey Lance. And I think we'll see Trey Lance week 18 when everything is wrapped up. The 49ers probably won't be able to move up or down in the seeding, and Trey Lance to get the start, and Jimmy will get ready for the playoffs. So I do think, that will be a time where we get to see Trey Lance for a full game and kind of see the things that he's been working on and how he's kind of been developing. And hopefully he puts forth an effort that is, gives us confidence moving forward that, okay, we see he's heading in the right direction. That will be the guy ultimately. As a playoff team, and I want to get to you first, Jesse, when you look at the 49ers and where they are right now and kind of some of their ups and downs, how confident are you in this team as a playoff team? Because I strongly believe right now it's slightly above 70% with them making the playoffs. If they win this game, it shoots up to like 95%. All right. So we're going to talk about this team as a playoff team because essentially that's what they are right now. Heading into the playoffs, first round, they'll likely have to play a Tampa or Dallas or maybe even Arizona again. So when you look at it from that standpoint, how do you think the 49ers match up with certain teams in the NFL or in the NFC, excuse me?
Yeah, I mean, Tampa's really the one matchup that I want no part of. I mean, selfishly, I want to see it because I live 20 minutes from that stadium. But I just don't think that's a good matchup for them. Across the board, that is on paper a horrible matchup. They can win the game. Anything can happen any given Sunday. But That's the one that I want to avoid. The rest of them, I really feel like the 49ers can win those games. The problem is I'm not going to feel confident about any of them because the 49ers are outgunned at the most important position in football, which is the quarterback position. It doesn't matter who you play. You're going to face a Dak Prescott, an Aaron Rodgers, a Kyler Murray, a Matt Stafford, a Tom Brady. No matter however you slice that, they're not better at that position, which is the most important in football. So they're going to have to do other things really well. They're going to have to protect the football. They're going to have to stay committed to the run game. Things are going to have to go dang near perfect in some of those scenarios for the 49ers to win. Can they win those games? Yes. Do I expect them to win those games? Absolutely not.
And what about you? I'll ask you the same question, Jason, before I get you out. I know Jason's on the road right now, so I'll ask you the same question, then get you out of here. What do you think? How do you think the 49ers match up against these other teams in the sense of really being able to, outduel them in the most important time of the year?
Yeah, I guess you can call me the optimist, the guy who is looking at things, glass half full, like type thing. But here's the thing. In terms of why it's important for you to just make the dance is you never know. Yeah, you never know what teams are going to be looking like, right? We just had DeAndre Hopkins get pushed out for the year, okay? And I know that he may be back for the playoffs, right? And I agree with everything that Jesse said, right? Obviously, they're outdueled us in terms of quarterback. But if the 49ers can control the clock, play good defense, turn the ball over, and keep the offense on the other side of the field, and in a one-game playoff, obviously anything can happen. So when you look at maybe the Cardinals can slide a little bit now in seeding, right? Now that DeAndre Hopkins isn't there. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins isn't as effective as he was before the injury, right? And that's something that happens. With the Packers, who knows how healthy they're going to be? What if the 49ers get Emmanuel Mosley back in time for the playoffs and he's effective? What if Arden Key gets hot, right? Like things like that. So that's why in terms of, I understand people's hesitance in saying, well, we're going to make the playoffs and for what? To not win a Super Bowl? But the idea is you have to crawl before you walk and you have to be able to get into the dance. You can't hate from outside the club, right? Ask many of those Giants teams. I know that's been floated around and I don't want to like, to put it out there. Jesse, I know you did a show with Grant talking about it, right? The parallels between the fact that the Giants were a wild card team, but they got hot at the right time and their defense had a large reason to do with that, right? The pass rush got ferocious and all of a sudden they made just enough plays to win games. And I'm not trying to sell anybody this like glimmer of hope or anything like that, but the idea should always to be get in the dance, man, and then figure out from there because you never know 4 weeks down the line who's going to be injured, who's going to have COVID, or who's going to be on the list at this point. There's so many things moving right now in the NFL that to sit there and say making the playoffs, I don't want to do that just to make it. You have to do one thing, one foot in front of the other, make the playoffs, and then you see what you get on the other side, what the Packers look like, what Dallas looks like. Dallas is struggling right now. What if all of a sudden they continue to struggle, right? Like these last 2 games, they haven't looked great. And I think Denver kind of showed a little bit of how to slow them down. They ran a bunch of man match against them, and that's Fangio. People are going to lift that and use those things. So as we go on, we don't know where guys are going to be, what teams are going to be at 4 weeks down the line, and where this team will be. So for right now, win the games, get in the playoffs, and then we'll figure it out when we get there against whatever opponent.
That's a fact.
I like it. All right, I'm gonna get you out of here now, Ponte. I'm gonna move on a little bit with.
I didn't mean to be like that with you or whatever. Like I.
Oh no, you're on the move, man.
Spoiled.
No, it was last second, man. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, bro. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate all the love and everything. And yeah, Sprint Right Option tonight. We're going to be breaking down Spider-Man. We ain't going to be talking no 49ers today or anything like that.
So I guess I got to go see Spider-Man too. I got to go see it.
Yeah. No. We ain't talking. I'm not going to do the spoilers. I'm not doing the spoilers, man. I'm not going to do the spoilers. But I definitely got to get out there because, I opened up YouTube to, watch your show. And in the suggested, it's already a Spider-Man spoiler. Like, right there, my suggested video. It's I was like, I had to close it out real fast, man. So, I got to get this done. But shout out to you, Croc. Appreciate you, Jesse. Always a pleasure, bro. And shout out to everybody in the chat showing love, man. I'll tap in with y'all soon.
All right. It's my dog. Hold on.
What?
Oh, they can't see your name. Hold on.
Show the name. I was waiting for you to show the name.
I just peeped that. Oh man, that's
God, man. Yo, the shoe fits, man. You might as well just run with it. Everybody's always saying, Yo, like I posted a video last night on IG, making fun of Mitch Wisnowski, right? And I thought it was pretty funny. And like I wake up this morning, there's a comment: all of Grant's disciples turned into him, and you're turning into. And I started to type out this long ass response, and I was like, I'm just gonna go watch Spider-Man. I was like, I don't
not
care
worth
about
it.
that.
Not even worth it.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to tell him, I'm not Grant's disciple, you dummy. Like I have my own thing, and I go and it's like I'm just like whatever, bro. I'm done with this. But
you can't have it. You can't have a take without being the next Grant Cohn or whatever. It's so ridiculous. I hate
That's
it.
it, man. Grant Aponte, just lean into it, bro. Lean in, bro.
All right, Grant Aponte, man. I'll see you.
All right, Croc.
Later, man.
I think we do get a lot of people pushing back on the thoughts of making the postseason just to, get booted out, right? And they make that a focal point of their argument in the sense of why 49ers shouldn't. But I will say this, and anyone you've talked to that has either played in the playoffs or has been there and witnessed it, it's a totally different atmosphere. The butterflies for a lot of these guys is different. The speed of the game is different. So I would say this as a benefit of, let's say the 49ers hypothetically go to the playoffs and get bounced out right away. The benefit of it is gaining that playoff experience, right? What's one of the things that pop up with a team that's super inexperienced? They'll put up all the guys that have never played in the playoffs, right? Yep. They'll be like, oh, this is new for this guy, all these different guys, right? The 49ers, they go to the playoffs. That's some really good experience for a lot of young guys, whether they win or lose. Now, hopefully we're hoping they win. And I've seen it in the chat, see guys like this right here. Jets Gang says, I'd rather be the 2007 Giants. And yeah, the 2007 Giants, or even the Giants after that, I believe.
2011, same, yeah.
Who one year my guy Will Blackman was on, so I think that was the 2011 Giants. Will Blackman talked about it. At one point in that year, they lost 5 straight games, and they really backed into the playoffs as a wild card team, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think I'm alone on this, but I don't think Eli Manning is good like that. So for Eli to, I don't think that Eli is just better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Eli had terrific playoff performances twice in his 17-year career that may push him to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, which is crazy because when you just watch Eli Manning, I don't think he was better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So when I look at that in the sense of if he's able to do it, I get it. They leaned a lot on that defense. That defense was really good. The offense, obviously, he had good performances in the playoffs, but I don't think it's just as simple as, hey, the 49ers, like, they go, but they're just going to get their butts kicked. I think once you get into the dance, man, it's 0-0. And I think that's what we're probably expecting. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. The Giants, the Eli Manning thing, I don't necessarily disagree. Oh, man, we lost Croc. I'm the whole host. This is crazy. But no, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that once you're in, anything can happen. There's no doubt about that. The difference is with the 2011 Giants, like that's the team that most people want to draw parallels to when it comes to this 49er team. And for me, the 2011 Giants had one thing going in their favor, and that was that they forced a lot of turnovers. You look at the course of that season for them, they only had one game during the regular season where they forced 0 turnovers. And when you look at that run that they made, the final 2 games of the regular season, and then all the games into the playoffs, they won the turnover battle 12-2. That's very, very significant. And so that right there is that's what the staple of that team was. They had a dominant defensive line. The 49ers, to me, are still trying to find who they are. And can they be a dominant run game? Is the defensive line getting better? Yes, all those things are true, but they still don't have that one thing that you can say, this is what they're dominant at. And so that's what's hard to me when you have a quarterback that is mediocre or middling or whatever, like the Giants had in Eli Manning. Well, they had a go-to. They had a dominant defensive line that could take over games, and they forced a lot of turnovers. And Eli, for as bad as he was at times, he could also throw up a 450-yard game out of nowhere. And we haven't seen that in Jimmy's bag. So, yes, I think getting to the dance is important. Jason brought it up early on. He said something about, Shanahan needs to win, and I agree with that. Shanahan, as much as his future relies on Trey Lance, he's looking at it saying, okay, I have 3 losing seasons in 4 years. Whether he's on the hot seat or not is completely irrelevant for Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan is a competitor, and Shanahan wants to win. There is no way that Shanahan wants to look at this season and say, well, I have 4 losing seasons in 5 years. He's a competitor. He wants to win, and he's going to do everything he can to do so. And if he thinks Jimmy Garoppolo is the best chance to do that, then that's what he's going to do, whether I agree with it or not.
Man, I just cracked the screen to my my iPad. That's why I went away for a second. I was trying to zoom in. I'm from behind. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit, and then it flipped over and hit the hardwood floor and cracked the dang screen. So that's why I was like, damn. And then but anyways, I'll get that fixed. People are living in La La Land. I'm not an Eli pom guy, but come on, he was head and shoulders above Jimmy, or head and shoulders better than what Jimmy is. I may be alone on this, but I just don't think I don't think Eli Manning is good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he had these playoff moments. Listen, he played 17 years in the NFL. 17 years. 2 of those years, he only won playoff games in 2 of those years. Now, in those 2 years, he won the Super Bowl, and he had a good throw down the stretch. Now, if you want to say when it mattered most in the big moment and they needed a throw, he made that play. And I would say that's what Jimmy Garoppolo has not been for us, right? He has not made that play that the 49ers need. And I talk to people all the time about it. Like, they're like, well, this and that, and if Kyle would have did this, it's like, listen, at the end of the day, you need a quarterback that stops the bleeding. Like, just make a play. However you got to do it, whatever that looks like. And Eli did that. The one throw where the guy caught the ball on his helmet, where Eli spun in circles, threw a guy off of him, threw the ball up, he caught on his head. The other one down the left sideline to Manningham, which was a beautiful throw. He had these throws that it was like, all right, like, we're going to win because of that. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo, and the opportunities to have to just make a play, he didn't do it. And it kind of started coming back a little bit against the Bengals, where it's like, man, Jimmy, we need you to make that one play. And he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And the game ended up going into overtime when I don't feel like it had to. So that's definitely one thing I keep an eye on, or I'd say is the biggest difference. But in the sense of just play to play, like down to down, I don't think Eli Manning was good. So that's kind of why I come off like that. And it's not in the sense of me living in La La Land, but
we had this talk, I think, on a Spaces during the offseason.
Hey, hold on, Jesse. Part of it. Real quick, while you're talking, I'm gonna switch cameras. So keep talking.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Go away.
Yeah. No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I mean, we had this talk on a Spaces, and I think Chris is always in the chat. He was a part of it, and I think Chris was on the Eli Manning side. He's like, hey, listen, I think he's a borderline Hall of Famer or what have you. But Eli Manning really was not that good. I mean, let's go through it real quick. Career 60% completion percentage. Now, to me, completion percentage is probably the most overrated stat that there is. You look at Jimmy Garoppolo, right? High completion percentage. I think he's fairly inaccurate at times. There are times where he completes passes, but he doesn't lead his receivers, and so he leaves a ton of yards on the field sometimes. Not necessarily the most accurate, but his completion percentage is high. So I can say, hey, maybe his completion percentage wasn't the highest. All right, let's look past that. But he only eclipsed 30 touchdowns. I mean, in a long career, he got to 30 3 times. His completion percentage was low. His touchdown to INT ratio was low. He wasn't throwing for a ton of yards. I mean, he did have a season where he got near 5K, whatever. But outside of that, it was a bunch of 3,400, 3,300, 3,800, like very, very similar. So, if Jimmy were to have a 15-year career and stay healthy, I think you would actually see a lot of similarities. I think Jimmy would be slightly more efficient as far as some of those numbers go. But, not a ton of touchdowns, not a ton of yards. It's just kind of who they are. I don't think Croc's that far off in saying that they're pretty similar as far as overall what they bring to the table. Eli would have times where he would throw a ton of turnovers, and it wasn't just early in his career. He had 10 years into his career, so a 25 interception year, a 27 interception year. So he could, things could snowpile on Eli pretty quickly. So I don't think you're that far off, Croc.
Yeah. So yeah, it comes off as weird when you hear it, because I think most people, when they hear Eli Manning, they attach it to Peyton Manning, and they attach it to Super Bowl wins. And like our guy Rico here, he says Eli won Super Bowls, case closed. And it's like he won 2 Super Bowls, not just a Super Bowl. He won 2. And it's like, I get you. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But I don't look at anything. And this is one thing you guys probably should know about me by now. I don't look at anything as one like individual moment or play or other. You know what I'm saying? I look at everything as a whole. So when we're talking about cornerbacks, I don't say because a cornerback gets beat for 2 touchdowns in the game that he can't play cornerback, because I look at that as 2 plays out of 70. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at it in the sense of like, all right, like, what is he doing on a consistent basis throughout this entire game? So when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, okay, he had 2 plays that he would like back, but I thought he played well in all these other areas. Look at this. Like, this is good how he did this here or did that there. So that's how I look at things. So when I look at Eli Manning, I don't look at it as he's great because he won 2 Super Bowls. I look at it as through 17 years, he was fairly pedestrian outside of 2 great playoff runs and really taking down a juggernaut. And that was a great moment. But also, you know, football is a team sport. And it's not just him. Definitely he made some throws to contribute to that for sure. And I'll never take that away from him. Those are great moments. And if you want to send him to the Hall of Fame and say he's better than Jimmy because he made 2 great throws, great catch, but he had 2 great moments, then okay, I got you. But in the sense of who he is, like on a week-to-week, game-to-game basis, I was never scared of Eli Manning, ever.
Yeah,
I
agree with
Eli
that.
Manning, I was never worried about him.
I agree with that. But Rico, you can't say Eli won 2 Super Bowls, case closed, because you're probably the same guy, much like me, that says, well, Jimmy has a winning record. That doesn't mean a lot. Like you can't have it both ways, right? Because when somebody comes at you with a Jimmy stat and says, yo, this is his record, it's a winning record, you're like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. It's a quarterback, wins is not a quarterback stat. And then in the next press say, well, Eli won Super Bowls, case closed. So, and I'm not saying I don't know what your stance is, but I got to imagine that's probably pretty close to what it is when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo. And so that's just, it is what it is. You can't have both sides of the argument because, if Eli won the Super Bowls, well, Jimmy also wins games and he's been to a Super Bowl. So.
All right. Now, real quick, and then I'll get you out of here, and we'll start to get the fans on. Or do you want to answer some of the fans with me? They come on, and you want?
Yeah, I got about a 15 minutes in me before I got to get back to doing some actual.
All right,
work.
Here we go. So he got till 9:30 my time. All right, so here's the chat. You guys can come on. Y'all can talk. I'm really mad. I just cracked my.
I would be hot. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I got to get that fixed. But anyways. So there's the chat. You guys feel free to come on. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Got my guy Jesse. He rocking with me for the next 15 minutes. Underdog Fantasy. Oh, I'm not even over there right now. But Underdog Fantasy, make sure you guys download the app. We'll get into a little bit of fantasy stuff later on. But here we go. I got the first person coming on. I got my guy Dion. Dion, what's good this morning? How you doing?
Hey, what's happening with you, Crocky? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm blessed. Can't complain.
And to the special guest, I know your name. I cannot remember your name right now, dog. But
it's Jesse. It's Jesse. What's up?
There it is. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, man? I'm doing good, man. Doing good. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm alive. Can't complain after that, man. So I heard y'all talk about Eli here, man. Let me tell you, the only pass that Eli made that actually that he made was the Mario Manningham pass. That pass to David Tyree, if you watch the replay, that was a hope and a prayer, and Jesus answered in the form of David Tyree. I'm telling you, he was about to get sacked, and he got pulled, and then he just chucked the ball. Watch the replay if y'all ain't seen it. I'm telling you, he chucked that ball, and that was all David Tyree. I look at it in certain situations, and I give credit to, the person that made the play rather than the person who threw the ball, unless it was accurate. Like that play where we won the Cincinnati game, that was Brandon Ayuk. Jimmy ain't do nothing special. He did what he normally does. He threw to the flat.
Hold on. It was a good job by Jimmy. It was a good job at Jimmy because Jimmy was rolling left and he couldn't even get his full body around. So he kind of is rolling left and kind of flicked it. It was a good job for him to put the ball with how his feet weren't set. Body wasn't right, and he was able to get that hips around, flick the ball in there and hit Ayuk in a spot to where he didn't have to slow down or anything like that did contribute to a touchdown. So again, I'm not a
No,
go
I
Jimmy
understand.
guy, but I will
No,
say
I got
you got to give him a little credit for that. Like just
I'll
for
give him.
it was high difficulty in the sense of giving Ayuk the ball in a position to where he could catch and run without having to slow down at all.
I'll give him that much credit because he made a play where he didn't have to really slow down at all. But the touchdown don't happen if Ayuk don't have them long ass arms and stretch out to get it over the pylon. Period. Like for me, and coming into this game, I put it in the comments. Matt Ryan actually has more interceptions than Jimmy Garoppolo. He has 11. Garoppolo only has 8. Now, mind you, there's a ton of drops, and one was in the Cincinnati game that would have put him, at Matt Ryan. So technically speaking, the only thing Matt Ryan has over Jimmy Garoppolo is yardage, and he's only maybe 100 or 200 yards ahead of him. So going into this Falcons game, we're not really facing, Matty Ice. I don't give him that title anymore because he ain't been Matty Ice for years. He's regressed, and you don't have Calvin Ridley. All we have to do really is stop Cordell Patterson and Russell Gage. You know what I mean? Kyle Pitts is a good tight end. He's still a rookie. He's coming along in the league. He leads them in receiving yardage, but honestly, when I look at it, Cordero for them is Debo. He runs, he catches, he does all those things. And then their defense is super suspect. It's not a game where you want to sleep on them, but I'm saying right now, like, we should be able to destroy this defense. The leading sack person is Dante Fowler Jr. with 4.5. Nick Bosa has 12. And we've got several other players that got just as much as Dante Fowler. So if they're smart, they'll do what every other team does, attack the right side of the offensive line with Tom Compton and his worthless self. And they'll probably use Daniel Brunskill like a turnstile because sometimes he gets beat. But, I mean, for me, the one thing Eli could do is say, hey, I had to go out and win both my Super Bowls. I didn't have one handed to me, because I'm sorry. There's no way. I will always believe this. There's no way in hell that Cam Newton went into that Super Bowl and played that horrible. And, Peyton Manning, who was not that good that year, you could tell he didn't have the same zip on the ball. There was just something off about him. And
no, he was bad.
He was bad. That defense led them to that Super Bowl. He rolled them all the way there.
He got benched that year for was it Paxton Lynch or somebody or Brock Osweiler? I mean,
it was Brock. I think it was Brock because they paid Brock and then they traded him, obviously.
And I believe he had like 10 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. He was throwing multiple pick sixes. Yeah, he was shot. Yeah, it was definitely
he was bad. Yeah, Jesse, how do you feel about this Falcons game real quick before I get out of here?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that this is a game that the 49ers definitely should win. And one thing about Matt Ryan, too, is they have trouble protecting Matt Ryan. And the 49ers defensive line is coming on. I really think that they can cause problems on that side of the ball. And I agree with you. I think that it comes down to limiting the big plays from Cordero Patterson. If I look at it, it's Debo versus Patterson. Which one can make the bigger play? And that one could be the difference. I think the Falcons can put up points for sure. But at the same time, I'm not afraid of the Falcons by any means. I do think the 9.5 points is rather large, though. I don't know if I would take the Niners with that 9.5.
Yeah, I'm not a gambling man, so I don't understand spreads and how they work and all that stuff. So for me, it's a little bit different. But I do feel like we should win this game, and I feel like we should win this game handily. We have a better offensive line, even though the right side is a little suspect. We do have a better offensive line. We do have the better offensive weapons, and we definitely have a better defense. It just everything says we should win. But the one thing that I'm afraid of is I feel sometimes like when we play them that Matt Ryan is inside Kyle Shanahan's head, and he knows, like he understands and knows his tendencies. I'm pretty sure he's standing there talking to the D coordinator. Hey, if he gets in this situation, he's going to go here, or he likes to do this. These are his tendencies. These are the things that he does. So this is what you should do with your players to be able to do that. And I guarantee you, as a defensive coordinator, you definitely want to take that into account from somebody who has been with the person and understands them. It just makes sense. You don't brush them off like, I got this. I'm so-and-so. Don't worry about that. It's like, nah, man, give me all the information you can give me. Feed me all the knowledge so I can go ahead and look at it on tape, understand what you're saying, and apply it in the game. But I appreciate you for having me on. Jesse, always good to see you, brother. Always a
too,
great
man.
show whenever you do your own thing. Crocky, you know I got nothing but love for you, baby. Let me know when that merch comes out. Y'all stay blessed. Let's go out here and kick these Falcons' ass, man. We can't let
Let's
these
do it.
birds come in here and fly over the stadium and fly high. We got to go ahead and get them muskets out from when we were the old 49ers, mining for gold and pop them.
Yes,
I love
sir.
it.
All right, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Peace.
All right, real quick, I did want to get to this question. All right, so we got Trey said, but think about it. Eli really never had great weapons. He had the Ghost of Plaxico Burress, old Amani Toomer, Victor Cruz for 1 year. What if Eli had Debo and Kittle? First of all, he had Odell Beckham, and we're talking about prime Odell Beckham that was breaking records, right? And everybody was like, damn, even Eli's holding Odell back. You know, remember when Odell left, people were like, oh, Odell finally got a good quarterback. That's what people were saying, right?
Yeah.
So Odell had amazing years with him. If you want to talk about, great weapons, but he also had some really good weapons. I looked at 2011. 2011, both Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz both went over 1,000 yards. Hakeem Nicks actually almost 1,200. Hakeem Nicks multiple 1,000-yard seasons. I want to say, was Jeremy Shockey in there with
Yeah.
with Eli
Yeah,
Manning?
I think so.
You also
Yeah.
had guys like Martellus Bennett. So I can't. And then also they had like a 3-headed monster at running back as well, where they had like Ahmad Bradshaw,
Tiki
Brandon
was there.
Jacobs. Yeah, so no, he had weapons. Like, let's not do that. On top of having a stacked defense. All
Yeah,
right,
that
so let's
defense was
not.
legit. I mean, that
Yeah.
NASCAR package that they were able to roll out with those 4 DNs was, I mean, that was incredible. That was a hell of a defensive line.
Yeah. So real quick, got my guy. Oh, hold on, I got a super chat here. How realistic is Frank Gore coming in? Not realistic at all.
No. You think he's going to win that
Not
fight
realistic.
Saturday, Croc? I'm going to that fight, actually. It's here in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just kind of made different. He got that OG strength. He's and it's crazy because Williams, I always look at him as like young, but he's not young. He's up there in age too. Him and Frank Gore damn near might be the same age.
Yeah.
He has the reach, but I don't know. There's just something about Frank Gore that I feel like Frank Gore gonna win this. I think his mentality has always been like, I'm not gonna lose. I'm not gonna lose. I'm not gonna lose. And basketball players always feel like they're kind of soft. So yeah, I'm going with Frank Gore for sure.
I feel it.
All right, here we go. Got my guy Darius coming on. Darius, what's good with you, man? Good morning.
Oh man, top of the morning, man. Real quick, I want to address the chat. So ain't no more none of that bullshit. Yes, I'm in prison. You know what I'm saying? I apologize for the background noise. It's been a violent week. We dealing with COVID, plus the holidays. It's been a violent week, bro. So when you hear that shit back there, that's what's going on. But that's not my life, though. I'm strictly talking about Niners, bro, because I can't get this nowhere else. Like, it's a 5-minute talk. You got fans in here, but it's a 5-minute talk. They don't know who John York is. They don't know nothing about, so I can't talk that real shit with them. You know what I'm saying? So I come here for this, but I'm not on that type of time. I come home next year. Since I've been in here, I got my AA, put it last summer.
Hell yeah.
Published my own book. Go get this. Love Schemes and Murder Scenes by Darius Ollie. OLLIE. Go to Amazon. Go check that out, man. But yeah, that's my life, bro. I'm not on here for nothing else but the Niners, bro. And I love this channel because everybody is knowledgeable, bro. Like, I hate watching shows where it's just barbershop talk. Like, I watch because it's still about the Niners, but I don't want to hear opinions over facts. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like coming here. That's why I like to look in the chat and like I was telling Trice, like, bro, like I asked him, I said, hey man, are you a coach? And he had kind of got back at me like kind of hostile a little bit. And I understand because you got those trolls in here that do that. And I hate that because it's like we're all on the same team. You feel me? It's like, come on, man, don't attack the next man that's in here for the same reason that you are. So I understood, but I was telling him like, nah, man, I asked you because you know a whole lot. Like, you be blowing my mind. Like, a few people in this chat, they know hella shit. And long story short, he is a coach. And I said, well,
Yeah.
Dad, you should have just told me that then, man. Like, but I don't come on here to attack nobody, man. I don't know y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's weird. To get at somebody through the internet, you're never gonna see this person. It's just weird to me, bro. But
Right.
anyways, man. Long story short, you know what I'm saying?
But that's because
But
you look at it from that standpoint because you understand. I was watching this video, right, of YouTube of it was Gilly. Do you know who Gilly the kid is? Do you ever watch his YouTube?
yeah, for sure.
Gilly
All the time,
Gilly
man.
and
That
his
was the
boy, you know what I'm
game.
saying? Yeah, $1 million worth of games. So I watch them all the time, and they were just on with Academic, right? And Academic
Right.
clearly doesn't truly understand like the ramifications of what he's saying to people. Like when he be telling people pull up and stuff like that, he doesn't know that other side of it. So he just talks crazy, right? But people that really know, people that know that other
Right.
side of it, they don't talk crazy like that. So like you'll never see me in the chat because I understand what somebody is capable of doing to somebody. You feel me? So sometimes I think when it
Yes,
comes to
sir.
like some of the trolls or whatever in the chat, they don't come from that lifestyle or they ain't never seen those things. They ain't see the things I saw growing up at Valverde Park. I'm up there at Valverde every day hooping. I saw there's not one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I didn't see happen at the park. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
But so
man.
when you
That's
grow
that's
up
the
around
first
that and
person.
you see that, you know what I'm saying? When you grow up around that and you see that,
Yeah.
you understand the power of words and what could potentially happen. So a lot of these people that be in the chats and they be trolling and stuff and they start talking crazy is because they don't know that what other people are really capable of doing. So that's why you see that a lot of
Right.
times.
Let me tell you something, man. Real story. There's some guys in here that will get your IP address and really know where you at through this fucking internet shit. And they done stamp some shit. They done kill somebody for playing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it get real. You feel me? And I don't, man, please, bro. Like I respect everybody, man. And like you said, because we come from that cloth, so we know about and just respect people, bro. And that's their opinion, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is just like, man, if we all Niners, bro. Let's come here and holler about these Niners, bro. Like all that getting at each other, like you could disagree, but you know what I mean? Keep it civil though, bro. And yeah, that's my take on that. This morning, I wanted to tell you this morning, I listen to a lot of ESPN radio and Keyshawn Johnson. Oh, I love him for this, bro. He called Jimmy a great quarterback, and it put a smile on my face. They were talking about Daniel Jones and how he needed to just be a backup, and how they need to go get somebody like Mariota or they said somebody else's name. But then he said Jimmy Garoppolo. He's like, man, Jimmy Garoppolo would be perfect because he could fit that scheme, and he makes the right throw. Like he makes good. He didn't say right though. He said he makes good throws. And I was thinking like, damn, like let's say they was interested in Jimmy. Like, you think they would be desperate enough to give us a third round?
They might give up more than that. Look, one thing about the Giants, and we'll see what happens, but they have 2 top 10 picks right now. And they're like back to back. They got 2 first round top 10 picks. All right. So they might, because they have all that draft capital, be a team that's like, hey, we really need a quarterback. We're cutting bait with this dude or whatever. We're going to build the offensive line, whatever the case is. Let's go ahead and give up a second for a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo. He come in, he's the guy, he's confident. Let's restructure his contract and kind of build around him. You know, that would be maybe if I'm the Giants and I need a quick fix, that might be like the role I play. But Darius, I'm gonna get you out of here because I got to get Jay out of here as well. Man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Keep your head up, bro.
Uh,
All right, man.
off
You have a
top,
good
bro.
one.
Thank
All right.
That was refreshing, man. That's, you know what, that's it right there. You know, I don't know, Croc, if you heard about like some of the craziness that's been happening in all the Twitter spaces and all that, but yeah, man, that's it.
Oh yeah,
Like we're all
I heard. I heard.
yeah, at the end of the day, like we're all fans, and people really don't know where other people come from. So talking reckless and doing all this tough guy internet stuff is like, man, just keep it out of there, man. We're 49er fans. We're trying to talk 49er football and leave it at that. You know, plus you also don't know how words can affect certain people. A lot of people are going through some real serious stuff, and 49ers chatter and all that is their escape. So the moment you start going in on somebody, you don't know how that can affect someone. Like keep it cool with people.
Right. Real quick, Jay, before you get out of here, let everybody know where they can find all your work.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter right there at @JNA_LSS. And you can find my YouTube channel, Last Second Sports. You can Google it. You can type it into YouTube. It should be the first thing that pops up, Last Second Sports. Tap in over there. We do a little bit of everything. I'm the resident 49er guy, but it's an all-around football sports channel. So we have a Cowboy fan, a Bronco fan, and a Detroit Lion fan as well. But multiple 49er content goes up every single week over there. So tap in over there for sure.
Awesome. All right, man. I appreciate you joining me this morning.
All right, man. Have a good one, Croc.
All right, and get to this super chat real quick. Here we go. I got my guy Eddie. He said, good teams handle business. If the 49ers are a good team, they need to prove it. It ain't about what you say you are. It's about showing who you are. I 100% agree. I think that the 49ers have had plenty of opportunities to kind of show that they could turn that corner. Now it's like, man, you gotta stop. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stop shooting yourselves and doing things that contribute to losses, man. Let's turn this page. Let's start playing better football, and let's start doing things that attribute to wins. And I would like to see the 49ers do it again. I talked about the Bengals game. I was a little worried walking away from it because I felt like a game like that, you're supposed to put your foot on their necks, right? A game like that where, you're up double digits, you got gifted 2 muffed punts, scoring position, and you didn't turn the ball over at all, and that game still went into overtime. You know what I'm saying? So that my mind starts working with like, all right, that's great win. Good job figuring out a way to win that game. But I think there are some deeper things that the 49ers have to continue to focus on. That's why it's wild to me that they're 9.5-point favorites in this game coming up. Here we go. Got my guy J-Law. J-Law, what's good, man? Good morning.
Morning, Crocky. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, got you loud and clear.
Perfect. Happy Friday. We about to take on them Falcons. I'm looking forward to seeing our Niners come out there and really stick it to them. I got this feeling that this is that come out game where they're going to show us exactly what we've been wanting to see all season. Kind of falling back on what you were saying about Eli Manning and the Jimmy G comparison, I truly feel like Jimmy G has more of a clutch ability to himself. I feel like the game versus Cincinnati really proved that. Those last 2 drives at the end of regulation and then that last drive in overtime, man, super clutch. Now I'm not saying Jimmy G is an amazing quarterback or anything like that, but he's a good quarterback. He's a decent quarterback. He's going to get the job done most of the time. Now, what I think our issue as a team has been the inconsistencies. They look for a reason to shoot themselves in the foot sometimes. It seems like they're marching down the field and then, we want to get an offsides and back ourselves up 10 yards, or they want to throw an interception to the middle linebacker randomly when they've been clean all game. So, like, I don't know, what you think, Croc? What you think is going to happen with this game this weekend?
I like the 49ers. And, the crazy, I like the 49ers in most games. In my head, I look at it like, hey, if the 49ers just do this, X, Y, Z, they'll win this game. I don't look at the 49ers as a team like the Falcons that need literally everything. In theory, I don't think that the 49ers are a team that need everything to go their way. All right. And what I mean by that, the 49ers shouldn't be a team that needs muff fumbles and things like that to win games. But we have seen that the 49ers are kind of that team, but they have more talent than that. When you look at the Falcons, right? The Falcons, they can't rush the passer. They can't protect the passer. They're lacking weapons. They really kind of have 2 guys on their offense that are kind of really contributing. And Russell Gage is kind of whatever, right? He's not like a super like scary receiver. And then you have Kyle Pitts, and he's a rookie. And then Cordell Patterson, like that's kind of it. Where they're kind of trying to piece things together, especially without Ridley. And then their defense, it's been terrible. Like that's a bad team. The 49ers aren't that. But for whatever reason, the 49ers still find ways to either lose games or make some games closer than it has to be, when I feel like the 49ers as a team, how they're built, even with the injuries, 49ers have injuries for sure. But even with that, I feel like the 49ers are a team that instead of being, after 13 games, I think they should be like 10-3 right now. Like, that's how I feel about the 49ers, 10-3. I feel like they have that type of roster, even with the injuries, from a coaching standpoint. All these guys have been together. Like, this should be a 10-3 team. And the fact that they're not, to me, is because, damn, like, why? And I mean, that's the part I question, but I don't know. It's the 49ers are odd. They shouldn't have an issue with the Arizona Cardinals. But for some reason, this team has found a way to have issues with teams like the Arizona Cardinals.
You're right. You're right. It's weird because it's when you look at the talent, when you look at the stat line, when you look at the numbers, just by the numbers alone, like they should be 10-3. That's a fair record. Or 11-2. They should be somewhere in that realm. We shouldn't have lost to those the third string Cardinals. We shouldn't have lost to the Seahawks. Like, for whatever the reason, it seems like the Seahawks always have our number, always. And I got years of conversations with friends that are Seahawks and Cowboys fans, and it's been nice to have Shanahan around and John Lynch the last few years to actually give us Niner fans something exciting, like a reason to cheer. I know a lot of people been giving Shanahan and Lynch and the management of the Niners a lot of flack this year because it started off rough, but any given Sunday, right? Like it doesn't matter what happened the week before, it doesn't matter what happened the year before. Any given Sunday, the game is going to be the game, and you just have to go out there and play. And I love Kittle's responses lately. You want to talk about a guy who's really coming into his own as a leader. I mean, his answers, his poise, his composure when he's talking to people about the game and the team that he's on. Like, what was it after the Vikings game? When they asked him, how do you? Basically, they asked, like, what do you do in situations where it's getting tough? And they were referencing Cliff Kingsbury complaining about how they hold all the time. And Kittle's response was, your playmakers have to make plays. And the very next week, he blows up the Seahawks with 150 plus yards while he's getting hold every single fucking play. Like, right. Pardon my French. So you got to back up what you talk about. And I feel like our guys are starting to back up what they're talking about. They've been saying this all year. That is something they have been consistent about. They believe in their team. They believe in their roster, all these things. And I feel like the last 5 games for sure reiterated the fact that we do have a good team. The Niners are a good team. They had some shit that they needed to straighten out and get figured out. But once they figured it out, they've been pretty consistent as far as winning games. Now, they haven't been consistent in those games, but they've been more consistent at winning games down the stretch. And let's be real. Like, when you're a 500 team, the real football starts in December. So if you play wishy-washy through the first few months, but then you come out and you just punch everybody in the mouth in December, you're a legitimate playoff team, and you usually go pretty far in the playoffs. That's my take. That's how I feel about everything.
Yeah, that's real, J-Law, and I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna get you off now. He made some very good points. It's December football. That's the most important thing. And if you look at teams like New England Patriots, that's when they play their best ball down the stretch. December, January, when it starts kind of getting cold out a little bit. And that's what the 49ers have to do right now. Start playing your best football. And last week, I don't want to, I saw somebody, Croc's always complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just looking at it from the bigger picture, from the big picture. I don't think last week was 49ers' best brand of football, like in the sense of what they want to represent December. Now, overtime, yes. right? What we got from the offense, what we got from Jimmy Garoppolo in overtime, yes. Damn, got something in my eye. Yes, but just over that whole game, I didn't think that was exactly on the offensive side. Actually, defense holding the team. That team has an explosive offense to 6 points heading into the fourth quarter. I thought the defense did well enough to definitely win outright. Now, offense, we need you to do a little bit more. So, I think one thing, if there's one thing that I'm looking for heading into this game against the Atlanta Falcons, I want to see the offense dominate the Falcons defense the way that they should. The way that they should. Can you beat down Patriots? I watched the Patriots on primetime television against the Falcons. They beat them 25-0. They had like a pick six. They had like 4 interceptions, whatever it was. But they won 25-0, right? They dominate. I don't even want to say they really dominated the Falcons defense like that because the Patriots defense did so much. But the 49ers need a win. Like, not saying that the whole Falcons is 0 points. That's crazy, right? To shut a team out in the NFL, that's hard. But be dominant. Do like what we saw against the Rams or the Jags, or even what we saw against the Vikings, which I know the 49ers turned the ball over once, but it was like, hey, we're scoring points. We are doing well. Like, be that against Atlanta. And if they can do that, what it's supposed to look like, dominate the team that you're supposed to dominate, I think I'll start to feel a little bit more comfortable about who this team is heading into the playoffs, as opposed to how I feel right now, which is just a lot of uncertainty. A lot of uncertainty. How y'all feel about it? Who's our starting running back? Last I checked yesterday, Elijah Mitchell did not practice, so they might roll with Jeff Wilson again. Let's see. Yeah, but if we win 11 games and even a playoff game, we might have to prepare ourselves for another year with Jimmy. All right. There's two sides to this. One, I don't think another year of Jimmy, I don't think that's bad. Like, if you take away the fact that you have Trey Lance, take away the fact that the 49ers have Trey Lance. And if you just, got Jimmy Garoppolo next year, you should win games. You should win a lot of games, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing that you potentially have Jimmy Garoppolo for another year. Just if you just, in theory, we'll just say in theory, right? Because now there's other things that factor into it. Now we can get into that. All right. But in theory, it would not be bad to have Jimmy Garoppolo for another year because he has shown that he has the ability to play winning football. So from that standpoint, I would not be mad or upset. Now, what happens is we watch guys like last night. I don't know how many of you watched the Chargers and the Chiefs game. And there were a lot of weird things that went on in that game, but there were a lot of like high moments where you're like, damn, my quarterback can't really do that, right? Like I know y'all saw plays where it's like, my QB can't make that play. And maybe is, and I always say it, quarterbacks win different ways. Same way Trey Lance, the way he wins is probably going to be different than the way that Jimmy Garoppolo wins, right? But you watched that game last night, and there were weird moments. There were great moments. We saw all sides of it. But at the end of the day, you saw two quarterbacks where you're like, these motherfuckers, they're good. They're the real deal, right? And what's going to happen is, as long as you have Jimmy Garoppolo, you're going to watch those guys in which you wish you had that. Like, a guy that, when it's not perfect around him, which it wasn't perfect last night. There were the Chargers went for it like 5 times on 4th down. The Chiefs and didn't get it, and then Patrick Mahomes throws the ball in the dirt. Like, nobody around him, just throws the ball in the dirt on 4th down. Like, it was crazy, right? But still, he's able to overcome those things. He's able to overcome the run game not really working. He's able to overcome his interception that he threw earlier. And it's just like, damn, high level, right? So when you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, he is more of what he is, a quarterback who can win. And when you look at Trey Lance and what he potentially can be, it's a different level just because of his ability that he has. So when you have a Trey Lance on your team, you got to get him going. At some point, you got to get him going. So if there is any gripe of not having Jimmy Garoppolo, it's because you have this high-end talented quarterback sitting behind Jimmy right now. And at some point, you got to get him going. That's the thing. But if there is no Trey Lance, and in my head, okay, we got Jimmy next year, I'm fine with that. I still will watch the other guys and wish that my quarterback could do those things or overcome some of the things that they can. But I'm fine with Jimmy coming back next year if there's no Trey Lance. And I think so. There's two different things that people are kind of talking about there when not wanting Jimmy and things like that. It's really because of who's behind him. And don't get it twisted, man. Trey Lance is a big time talent with big time ability. He is. Got to get him going. How do you go about that? And that's what they're trying to figure out right now. I would be pretty shocked if they didn't move on from Jimmy, like, right away when the new league year starts and don't get something for him. I would be shocked. I'd be shocked. Now, here's the thing, and I know people are looking for some, signs of encouragement, with Trey Lance and things like that. I think that the 49ers will be locked into whatever seed they are, and I think that the Rams will be locked into whatever seed they are. So I'm assuming week 18, you'll be able to see Trey Lance for an entirety of a game and just kind of see where he's at and what's encouraging and how he's kind of come along throughout this time. And I think that'll put people at ease a little bit. That's just my thoughts on that. How do you make the argument about if there's no Trey Lance? So I'm not making an argument as if there's no, how can I explain this? It's not so much about, if there is no Trey Lance. I'm saying, yeah, if there wasn't a Trey Lance, then I'm good with Jimmy being here next year. I don't think we would be upset about it. But I think the people having their emotions up and down is because of who is on the roster. So, yeah, like, I'm not saying I would be upset, but it's just like, kind of what are we doing? What are we doing a little bit? Now, we are definitely a little bit more impatient now when it comes to rookies because in the past, there have been guys that are drafted first round or higher, whatever, and just for whatever reason, don't play for a year or two, and they wait. And, back in the day, that wasn't anything that was too out of the ordinary, right? But I think now you look at it, when you see rookies coming in, they're playing now, there's definitely more of an emphasis on getting the rookie in there and building around him during his rookie contract. There's that aspect of it. There is the money aspect of Jimmy Garoppolo and, hey, freeing up that $25 million or whatever it is to build around Trey Lance, so, as well as the inflation from the salary cap in general. So you let Jimmy Garoppolo go and the inflation from the salary cap, which looks to be about $25 million. We're talking about $50 million to build around an uber talented Trey Lance. So that's kind of how I look at it. I got my guy Darius. He says it's crazy because these are the ways that this is how I see the chat. I got my guy right here, Big Copeland. We'll call you Big Cope. He said Jimmy G is the guy. All right, and then the very next comment is, "Nah, Croc, Jimmy has to go." You know what I'm saying? So like, that's how it is, man. The fans are on. It's weird, two different sides, and I think the sooner, I'll say this. It doesn't matter about what I think, and I give you guys my perspective. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's kind of what the situation is and what Kyle Shanahan and those guys are telling you, and not what they're telling you with what they're saying, what they're telling you with their actions, and really kind of their actions are telling you, like, Jimmy's probably on his way out. I'd say on a scale of 0 to 10, or we'll go 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, if Jimmy's going to be here, 10 being Jimmy's going to be here, it's probably at a 3. And he would have to do some drastic stuff to continue to be here next year. So that's kind of, regardless of how you feel, if you feel like Jimmy's the guy, hey, Jimmy's good, cool. But the situation kind of is what the situation is. Appreciate everybody that's in here. Everybody's contributed to the show. Ask what's up. 49ers, they're going to have a lot of money to be able to go out there and kind of build around a young, talented quarterback in Trey Lance. Croc, I think we should go young at CB. So I talked about this a little bit, and the guy I will be bringing on will be talking about just development and what it means at all positions, whether it's receiver, offensive line, cornerback, right? Development. And what you don't, and I saw somebody's comment earlier say, Ambry Thomas, he'll never be elite. He's only a special teamer. I saw that comment earlier in the chat. And I would say, we have no idea what he is and what he could potentially grow into. You just don't know. You don't know. I can never, y'all would never see me make any definite statement on a rookie in his first career start against high-end talent at that. Now, will he be elite? I don't know. But I don't even look at it like that. Can he gotta be a starting NFL cornerback? And that's what I'm looking for from Ambry Thomas. I don't know the answer to that. We will see. I think he has the traits and ability to be a solid corner. I think he has the size, the speed, all those things. He has to put it together. I won't be able to know based off of one game. Now, should the 49ers go young at corner? I believe in the power of development. I don't think that guys come in and you see them once or twice or even 3 times, and that's what they are. So if it's me, I have to see a little bit more from Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenoir. And even, while having a guy like Emmanuel Mosley to say, I'm just going to go young and forget developing. Because I think developing in the NFL, like that's a big thing. And I think that's what makes guys good instead of, continue. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't throw resources at the position, but I talked about what I would do. And I would probably go more so the route of having Ambry Thomas. All right, dude. Like, you got to step it up. Diamador Lenoir got to step it up, right? And I'm going to bring a free agent in, but it's not going to be a big free agent. It won't be like a Stephon Gilmore. It'll be more like a Mike Hughes or something, right? We saw Mike Hughes playing for the Chiefs last night. He was a free agent at one point. It would be more like a Mike Hughes, where, okay, I'm paying you $2 million or whatever, and I think Mike Hughes will be a free agent. It'll be more along those lines of a guy, hey, come in, compete with Ambry Thomas. If you beat out Ambry Thomas, like, all right, if you can't, if Ambry Thomas goes, gets right, understands the game, he's better moving forward, and he beats out Mike Hughes, like, okay, now we got it. Okay, we got Ambry Thomas, we got Emmanuel Mosley, we got 2 solid corners, but you got to give guys a chance to be that, and you can't make that decision over one game. So I'm not ready to say that a guy can or can't play. Edge guys are more plug and play. CB is harder. CB is definitely, it's tough. It's tough. Real quick before we get out of here, I'll talk about kind of this right here. And I don't think it's as black and white as people think in the sense of addressing the cornerback position. It says, what happened to Tim Harris? I never liked Tim Harris as a player. I didn't think nothing. I was like, okay, we'll wait and see. But when I watched this film, I was like, all right. But as far as keeping the tradition going, right? So I'm assuming my guy R1996 is talking about the 49ers not addressing the secondary the way that he would address the secondary, right? And here's my thoughts on that. I don't think it's as black and white as people make it out to be. You got to understand that there are only so many high draft picks, and there's only so many ways to really address this thing. And it has to go hand in hand. It has to go hand in hand with who's on the roster, where those guys are, and how you're kind of building things. And I don't think it's as simple as just saying, we don't want to draft a corner high. All right. So take it back a little bit. The 49ers at one point had a guy, Mantis, right? Rashard Robinson, Dante Johnson. And I think going into that draft, you probably knew that Dante Johnson and Rashard Robinson aren't the guys. But I don't think it was as simple as we want to pass on the corner, Marshawn Lattimore or Tre'Davious White or anything like that. It was Solomon Thomas was going to be the top pick. They had their mind made up. After that, they really liked Reuben Foster, and they wanted to really build that secondary. Now, that was a chance to potentially get up in front of a team like Buffalo, and instead of drafting Reuben Foster, maybe draft Tre'Davious White, and they'd be better at the cornerback position for it. There was a chance for that potentially, but they went like, hey, we're building up our front right now, and then we'll get to the secondary. They drafted they drafted Ahkello Witherspoon, who Ahkello was one of my favorite corners in that class. I like Tre'Davious White a lot. I like Ahkello Witherspoon a lot. I thought getting Ahkello Witherspoon at the top of the third round was a steal. A guy that was 6'3", 200 pounds with those feet, that athleticism, ran a 4.45 at the combine. Like, that's a guy like, okay, let's see where this goes. Right. And we saw glimpses of like, hey, man, why can't you be like this all the time? Then we saw the other side where it's just like, damn, are you just always going to be so up and down? All right. So that was Ahkello Witherspoon. All right. After that, it was the 2018 draft, right? Who the 49ers draft? It was now they had an opportunity, and I would have drafted 2000. Yeah, this is 2018. Minkah Fitzpatrick. I would have drafted Minkah Fitzpatrick. Hold on, we got a guy. See, this is not true. This is not true. I just watched Minkah Fitzpatrick Ahkello Witherspoon. I just watched the Vikings target him 3 times in the red zone, all incomplete. He broke up a pass, and then he turned around and picked off 2 passes, jumped a slant route, should have pick sixed it, and then also picked off another pass and gave the Steelers a chance to win. That was just last week. So to say he just can't cover, that's not true. If you would say he's inconsistent, I'll give you that. But I do feel like there were maybe some opportunities for the 49ers to potentially address the secondary, the cornerback position. But I don't think it was as black and white. Do you draft Minkah, which I would have drafted Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I probably would have kept Brown. But I think they were thinking, hey, we don't want to pay Brown all this money at right tackle, so let's let him go. Let's draft Mike McGlinchey, and he can be a starting tackle, which he's a solid starting tackle. He's a solid starting tackle. I think it was the way that just really kind of going about it. It's not as easy as, and then you get to a point where it's like, well, we got Richard Sherman, you got Witherspoon, you got Mosley, you got Verrett. Do you draft a corner high? There were people like, oh, they should have drafted Trevon Diggs, right? Do you draft Trevon Diggs at that time when on your roster you have Richard Sherman coming off of an all-pro year, Ahkello Witherspoon and Mosley? Mosley looked like he could be a legit starting corner. Witherspoon up and down. We'll see. You guys go ahead and compete for that job. And oh, by the way, we got Jason Verrett. Like, do you just say, hey, we're going to draft a guy second round and he's going to come in and play over all those guys? I don't think you could do that. So it's not as simple. It's not as simple as just they don't want to address it. You really have to look at the situations. I think if the situation presents itself, the 49ers would take a corner high. But they haven't really kind of been in that position. Do you take a corner high or do you draft Nick Bosa? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough. You got to look at who they took, when they took, why they took, who was on the roster. All right. And then now this year, they don't have a first round pick. So now they're going to be in the second round and it's going to come to a conclusion. Do you draft a corner or maybe an edge rusher? I believe that I would take the edge rusher if the edge rusher is better. If I have a corner and edge rusher, both even on my draft board, I have the corner and the edge rusher even on my draft board, I'm taking the edge rusher and go rush alongside Nick Bosa. Now, if I have the corner higher, then okay, I'll take the corner higher. But how much does the corner kind of move? You know, it's tough. It's tough. Here we go. Got my guy Roscoe's coming on. Chris, what's good with you, man? How you doing this morning?
What's up, Croc? I'm good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, yes, sir.
You know, yeah, I'm agree with you. Definitely would take a pass rusher over a corner. A pass. If folks look at some of the, let's just go back in time. Seattle, they won a Super Bowl. They had a very good pass rush. I mean, they did have a very good secondary, but they had a very good pass rush. You look at the Broncos, very good pass rush. You look at the Giants, both Super Bowls, very good pass rush. You look at how we made it to the Super Bowl, very good pass rush. Even the Eagles, when they won the Super Bowl, they had a very good pass rush. So, of course, I'm always take a corner. I mean, I'm always take pass rushers over corners. Pass rushers affect the game in a way. It's just different. I mean, when you can make the best quarterback of all time toe tap, yeah, I'm gonna take a pass rusher. If you look at what the Niners defense did in 2019, we went on a stretch of games, a 3 or 4 stretch of games where quarterback didn't even throw for 100 yards.
Yeah.
Because the pass rush was so dominant. So I'm a firm believer, and that's why I would rather when the draft comes, I would want to take a if there's a pass rusher that will make it to the second round, I'm going to take a pass rusher. While most people be like, "Oh, we should take corner, we should take corner," and then again, like going back, I mean, I probably would take a veteran DB anyways. I don't really, I really wouldn't even trip off getting a rookie right now. I would get a veteran DB and then try to load up on a pass rush this offseason. But the Falcons, the way the Niners win this game is if they run the ball. Run the ball 35 times. Jimmy throw the ball like 20 times. Let Elijah Mitchell do what he do, and we should win the game. But you know the Niners like to make things hard, so I don't
What do you
know.
mean by make it hard? What do you mean by that? Elaborate on
Croc,
that.
you know how we like to turn over the ball. We like to make stupid mistakes. We'll do some weird stuff on defense or offense. You know, Jimmy may throw 2 picks. We may fumble the ball. We may have like 8 or 9 penalties. That's the type of football team we are. So a lot of people like, oh yeah, we should, blow this team out. It's like, well, first off, know who you are. Know who you're talking about. We have a football team that I like our team, but let's be honest here. We're not a very disciplined football team. We're not a team that plays it safe as far as not turning over the ball. We love turning over the ball. So that's why I'm saying, like, we'll make it hard on ourselves. And so this game could definitely be a pick'em game. Honestly, if we keeping it real, the type of football team we are, we're an inconsistent football team. And what happens with an inconsistent football team? You never know who you're going to get. You never know who's going to show up. Are you going to get the good 49ers where they'll beat you down? Are you going to get the 49ers that's going to turn over the ball, get a bunch of penalties, and have you confused like, what the heck are we doing?
Well, what about the team that we saw against the Bengals that did not turn the ball over, but still somehow the game had to go into overtime? Like, how did something like that happen?
Well, that comes down to the offense. And like so we gave up 4 sacks in the second half. And I think if you go drive by drive, we gave up sacks on third downs. We gave up sack on first and third. We gave up sacks on, I think, twice on third down. And then the only time we had a third down where Jimmy, threw it to Kittle for 8 yards, Shanahan was like, I'm not going to go for 2. Defense playing well, so I'm not going to do that. So it was a lot of just the offense not executing. It was just, that's plain and simple. The offense wasn't executing. And I don't know. I can't really remember how bad we were on offense because the Bengals gave us every opportunity in the first half. I think they gave us every opportunity. And then in the second half, it's just possession after possession after possession. It was sack, sack, sack. And I don't know if you watched it again to explain, like, was the sacks on Jimmy? Was the sacks on our offensive line or both? That's really the reason why we scored 3 points in the second half. Now, if you go back to the Seattle game, I'm blaming that all on Jimmy, what happened in the second half. But this half, I don't know if it was a combination of both. What do you say?
I put it on the offensive line because of who Jimmy G is. If Jimmy were more of a playmaker and he can make plays outside the pocket and he can kind of escape sacks, which I've seen him do it here and there, but clearly that's not his thing, right? So knowing that's not his thing, you have to go above and beyond to protect him. You know what I'm saying? Now, I put on Jimmy a little bit. Actually, I don't put on Jimmy. That's not what he is. So we know he has to play from the pocket. We know he wants to play in rhythm. Maybe some of it should go on the receivers too for not getting open quick enough for a guy who needs to drop back, get the ball out in rhythm as well. So, I think blame goes a little bit offensive line and receivers for knowing who Jimmy is. Now, if Jimmy was somebody who had some more escapability, then okay, maybe I'll put more blame on him. But he's not. I know he's not that guy. So why should I expect him to do those things? You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. So what do you think? What challenges do the Falcons pose for the 49ers? Offense or defense?
None.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, seriously. They don't. They have their best offensive guy is, it's either Cordell Patterson, who's essentially a running back now, which the 49ers actually have done really good down the stretch against the run. So now it's all on Matt Ryan to throw the ball, and they have Kyle Pitts. 49ers have actually done extremely well against tight ends, and also they can't really protect the passer. So the only scenario where the 49ers either lose this game or make it a game is if the 49ers are, the other version of what they should be. You know what I'm saying? Which, again, we've seen that team. We've seen them do that. But I don't think, with what Atlanta is, they can't rush the passer. They can't protect their passer. And they really don't have the weapons like that to really threaten the 49ers at any level. I don't know. And not to be, Matt Ryan, I still have a lot of respect for Matt Ryan, but
they got
and what he's able to do, and
well, they got AJ Terrell. He's having a very good season.
Very good. He can't do it on his own. Like
you got Grady Jarrett.
He is, but even Kyle Shanahan doesn't attack corners.
He attacks the linebackers.
You can have AJ Terrell and be good all you want. That's not where Kyle is attacking your scheme and putting your interior guys, whether it's your linebackers or your safeties, in conflict and working off of them. So it's not even a game where you could just be like, hey, AJ Terrell, go take this guy away, and that's going to result in a win. It's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The only way the 49ers make this game close or lose this game is if they aren't clicking offensively or if they do weird things. And everybody's going to blame Kyle Shanahan if something like that happens.
So if you was a betting man, would you take the Niners?
9.5?
Yeah.
No, because the 49ers have showed to be really that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde team. I don't trust the 49ers.
Me either. That's what I
think
said.
In theory, I think they're really good, but I don't trust them.
I
100%
agree. 100% agree. You basically, like I said, you don't know the team you're going to get.
Right.
And that's a very confusing thing. It's just a very confusing thing. I don't know which Jimmy G we're going to get. I don't know which offensive line we're going to get. I trust the defense. I trust the defense more than I trust the offense. How about that? I'll say that. I trust the defense more than I trust the offense.
I wouldn't go that far. I just think the team as a whole has these undisciplined stretches, and you don't know which side of the ball is going to do it. And I think that's more the issue. You just don't know. Right? We talk about the Patriots. You know what you're getting from the Patriots every game. Right? They're on a 7-game win streak. You know, hey, run the ball well, play great defense. Don't turn the ball over on offense. Take the ball away on defense. And that's our winning recipe. We know who we are. And if we get away from that for a game or so, it's like, well, that's a game that we get away from it. But ideally, that's who we are. We know who we are. 49ers, we don't know. We know how the 49ers want to win, but literally every other week, it's something different. We don't know. So, yeah, I don't trust them.
Yeah, no, and I've been saying this all year long. If folks want to understand what a really good football team is, a well-coached football team, look at the Patriots. They make things so much easier for themselves. When you don't turn over the ball, when you don't get very much penalties, you know how much you increase your chance to win? It goes up a lot. And that's why you can win with a rookie quarterback. That's why you can be probably the top dog in the AFC, because you play clean football. If the 49ers play clean football this year, their record probably what?
They might lose 2 games, maybe.
Exactly. But unfortunately, that's not who we are. And this is the last thing I'm gonna ask you, and I'm gonna go. Going into next year, do you think Kyle really need to focus on building a more disciplined football team?
100%, because that's the only way he's gonna win it all.
Even though
How does he go about it? How does he go about building a more disciplined team? I think that's the bigger and tougher question. I don't know how you do it at that level.
I would say this. I remember Grant was telling us how the practices were, and Grant said that if you would false start in practice, Harbaugh would I think he said Harbaugh will pull you out, or you would have to go run or something. And he was like, when Kyle Shanahan, they just run the play over again. So I think, just the way you coach, you got to be a little bit more disciplinarian, and see where we go from there. But right on, Croc. It's Friday. Holidays is next week. I got a question for you. Are you an eggnog type of person?
Yeah, but if I'm drinking eggnog, I'm spiking it a little bit. So, and I know you're not about that life. So,
I am definitely not about that life. But yeah, eggnog all the way, baby. Let's go.
all right, bro.
All right, bro.
Real quick, get to this super chat before I get to the last caller. What up, Croc? What's the key to this team playing at a high level that is required in playoffs to win? I'm worried about the inconsistencies. Man, that's crazy because we just talked about this a whole lot. And yeah, every week I think you could say don't beat yourself. And I think even going into the playoffs, that's going to be magnified, right? Every moment is going to be bigger. And the 49ers already, I don't want to say they're at a disadvantage, because in any game that they're playing, my guy Jesse said it earlier, any game that the 49ers playing, they're not going to have the better quarterback. So you are going to need things around you to be a little bit more ideal as a team. And if you're going to do that, then you have to be extremely disciplined, because at any moment, and everybody, they might say, oh, well, the corners or this and that. At the end of the day, those guys on the other side, they are going to make plays at some point, right? They're going to make plays unless the defense just destroys them. But more times than not, that's not how it's going to happen. Now, I know we saw that happen in 2019. This is not 2019 defense. All right, this defense is good, but it's not the 2019 defense. So Aaron Rodgers, if you have to play him, he's going to get his. Devontae Allen's going to get his. In the biggest moment, there's going to be a time where it might be this quarterback trying to outduel the other quarterback. If it comes down to that, it's tough. You don't want it to come down to that. You want it to be, all right, let's not hurt ourselves. Let's be able to run the ball well. Jimmy, let's not turn the ball over. Let's make the throws that need to be made. We can't go these stretches in halves, which you did against the Seahawks and you did against the Bengals, where you don't score points. The last 2 second halves, the 49ers have scored 3 points combined, not including overtime. Like, that can't happen. So you got to move the ball more consistently on offense, and you can't hurt yourself. That's going to be the recipe. That's going to be the recipe. And can they do it? We've seen them be able to do it, how they beat the Rams. They got to do that, right? They got to. Now also the 49ers defense took the ball away and had a pick 6. But you're going to need more of that. Real quick, I'll kind of go through and look through some of the comments. There's a lot of comments I kind of missed. I appreciate everybody that's in here, everybody's in the chat. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate all that. About to get to the last caller. I'm looking through the comments. That's what I'm looking at right now. Ben, I see my guy Ben. Ben, you still in here? If you're still in here, I'll send the link for you. Got my guy Eddie. Here we go. Got another super chat. Grocky, we heard the same about the Seahawks. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're talking about as far as the Atlanta Falcons and the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, I think the difference was I was worried about the Seahawks just because it's the Seahawks. And regardless of what's going on there, and the Seahawks is different. They're not nearly as bad as the Falcons. Seahawks, if you look at their losses, they're like all one-score losses. And that's what the Seahawks have really been throughout their time with Russell Wilson, at least over the last 5-6 years. A lot of the Seahawks losses or wins, we'll say they're wins, it's been one score a lot of time. So this year they just happen to lose some of those one score games as opposed to previous years where they would win them. But the Seahawks aren't bad. So when you are playing the Seahawks and you know Russell Wilson's out there, like they can beat you. They can't beat you. Now again, 49ers they're not good like that. And the 49ers definitely had an opportunity to put them away. 49ers scored no points in the second half. That's on them. No points in the second half. That's tough. And it's the divisional rivalry aspect of it. The Atlanta Falcons are 6-7, and the 49ers are 7-6. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is great right here. Jay Boogie, 5'10". Jimmy Garoppolo is the most consistent 49er. You know exactly what you're going to get from him. That is true. That is true. Now, think using that logic, how do you win around that? Still looking through some of the comments before I get my last caller on. All right. Oh, wait. I got my guy Ben still in here. So Ben is going to be the last caller. I got Ryan coming on right now, and then Ben is going to be the last caller. So Ben, you want to come on? Here's the link right here. All right. So if anybody else comes on, I ain't gonna be able to get you on. All right. But there's the link in the chat right there. Real quick, I'll answer this. Where was it? Right here. I disagree. Is bad Jimmy or good Jimmy? It's a coin flip. I would say bad Jimmy and good Jimmy is kind of the same person. Like, like what he means by that is the consistency. You know that about him, no, right? It's not like it's not a random thing. We know exactly Jimmy, he's gonna be, well, I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? But we go. Got my guy Ryan in here. Ryan, what's good, baby?
What up? Happy Friday to you, man. I can't believe you said you wouldn't trust the defense more so than the offense. I think
don't.
Rocco was correct with saying like defense is more consistent. But it shouldn't be. But I gotta agree with him. For the year, I think the defense has been more consistent. One of the reasons is first, our third down conversion rate has been inconsistent this whole year and been terrible. The reason why we have those laws in the first half and second half is our third down conversion rate is terrible. And I was thinking about this yesterday watching the football game. You know that the Kansas City Chiefs only had 13 3-and-outs this whole year.
Wow.
As many, I'll say ridiculous. Like that's some good football. But besides that, that's crazy. 13. That's it. Only 13 3-and-outs. And I was thinking about our team. We have a pro tight end, a Pro Bowl wide receiver, 2 Pro Bowls with left guys in the left guard. And it's unfortunate that our offense is this inconsistent. Most people would say we have this type of talent on our offense, but then if our offense was consistently good, our record would be better.
Yeah.
But on the other end, our defense has been more consistent. Knowing we're going to get with our defense, that this is why people that our team kind of can be skewed. It's kind of like, dude, what are we doing? And that's our issue. We got all this talent on offense. So people say Pro Bowl here, Pro Bowl there, but we have multiple games, over 10 games where our third down conversion rate is less than 30, like around 30-some%. And that's horrible. That's horrible with that type of talent. Defense was wrong. And it's like, come on, guys. We can't sit there and say Atlanta will be a W when if we don't get like a couple first down in the first 2 possessions, we know Kyle Shanahan starts to get shaky with the sticks, you know what I mean? And then if they say we have another lapse on special teams or Cordell pass and does some crazy and take one to the crib, we're going to be like, oh, crap, here we go again. Will Jimmy start pressing or will we stay consistent with the run? And then those doubts start to creep up in our minds. Like we see it too much, too often with the team.
All right, Ryan, I'm gonna have to get you up. You made some good points, but your reception is kind of cutting in and out. And I see people talk about it in the chat, but you already know I always love and appreciate when you come on, bro. I appreciate you coming on, big dog. I'm not sure he heard me. We got my guy Ben. Ben, what's good, man? Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Croc. You know, it's interesting week. I'm covering FSU football also, man. So it has been eventful. I'll just say that.
Hold on. Okay. So first, let's start off. No, I want to get to the FSU stuff first.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to I want to get your predictions on the 49ers game.
Yeah.
All right. I want to get bold prediction. But
just rip the Band-Aid off, man.
So you are in FSU. I want to hear. I know what the climate is there right now.
Oh yeah.
But I want to know what happened. How did FSU get to where they are right now in a situation where a guy, Travis Hunter, who's committed to FSU, number one player in the nation, flips to Jackson State? How does that happen? And no, I'll ask that question, then I have a follow-up question.
Well, I'll start. I think it all goes back to like 2017 when Jimbo left like in the middle of the night, you know, December 23rd or whatever it was when he left Florida State. You look from that point on, like they didn't have a great recruiting class that year necessarily. But if you look at everything before then is fine. It's okay for the most part. Since then, they've had a new athletic director. I just think they're poorly managed, and considering what their options were, I thought they should have hired Dion at the time. I wasn't I wasn't surprised. They were never going to hire Dion, though. I'm just going to say that. It was just never going to happen, unfortunately.
So that was my okay. So why was it never going to happen? Did they not see the bigger picture of like what that could potentially be?
I think that was part of it. But I also think like, and I know, Croc, we're talking to a lot of people in the Bay Area necessarily. I know you're from Arkansas. There is a certain
no,
California. No, but your boy's you're in Arkansas right now, right?
I live in Arkansas. There you go.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say is I'm in the South. Things are just a little different here, and I think the race component of it, unfortunately, for Dion was a part of it because they had a black head coach right before him, and I hate to say that's what it is, but I really think the more I talk to FSU people who were more like, because I wasn't as in at that time, I was just more a fan. Now I'm actually in the media, in with everything. The feeling I get from those people I talk to who know what was going on a few years ago, it seems like that was certainly a part of it, unfortunately. So they
didn't see the bigger picture. So here's the thing, Ben. With business, all right, I'm learning some things, man, and a lot of it. Shout out to Andy Frisella. I listen to a lot of Andy Frisella. All right, but there has to be this certain level of aspect of like projecting, and you also have to have that FU. You know what I'm saying? FU. You know what I'm saying? And the Deion Sanders thing, there would have had to be a lot of projecting there, which is the case in any business. But you have to see what can come from that. And I was able to see it, and my guy Chris, he's in the chat. I'm sure he'll tell you I was saying, hey, USC needs to get Deion Sanders. USC needs to go get prime time because he's going to help so much with the recruiting. And it's not just him. He brings in these coaches around him. They're all his defensive coordinator is Dennis Thurman. That was my defensive coordinator of the New York Jets. Like he's bringing high-level guys with him that are terrific play callers and understand the game. He has those guys literally all around at Jackson State, where you don't have everything. You don't have all the resources. You don't have as much resources. That's the biggest difference, right? So when you look at Florida State and you have an alumni coming back, all right, you have Deion, Hall of Famer, what he is and how he attracts people. I get it. He doesn't have the experience that you want. Man. But you got to do some projecting and know that this might be a 2, 3, 4 year process, but he's going to be able to get this program back because of who he is and how people are drawn to him. Deion can walk into any living room, especially if he can walk into a living room and get a guy to flip and go to Jackson State. He can go into a living room and get anybody to go to Florida State. And that's where Florida State, they dropped the ball. They didn't see the big picture.
Well, and it's not like who they were hiring anyways was necessarily bringing them that much forward too, right? It's not like they're going out and getting the superstar head coach. That's the position I'm in, Croc, is that I would have understood if they were going after a great head coaching candidate and they felt like, hey, we're saying no to Dion, but look, we're getting this guy who has Power 5 experience and all this stuff. No, they hired Mike freaking Norvell, who was at Memphis before, who I don't not like the guy, but like, come on, with the point they were at with their program, to me, like passing on Dion, I just don't understand it. I don't understand the downside of it because it's not like that program was going to go any more down than it already was. Like they had, like right now, actually, I will say Wednesday may have been rock bottom for them, but it's felt like rock bottom like 3 different times over the last 4 or 5 years. So, man, it's just it just is what it is at this point with FSU. Yeah. First off, I think one thing people don't understand is they don't have a lot of money. Also, they have like absolutely no money right now. So I don't even think they would fire their head coach if they really wanted to, because they don't have like there's a lot more going on there, and it's kind of more of a mess than I think even people realize. So,
definitely not the Florida State that I grew up watching with,
No.
Peter Warwick and all those guys. We do have a question here. What's up with Mia Khalifa?
Oh, no, I think they're talking about that Instagram model who went to Jackson State.
No, I know exactly.
Yeah.
No. I think Mia Khalifa, did she go to Florida State?
Did she, dude?
Hold on, man. Where's Mia Khalifa from? Do you know who Mia Khalifa is?
Oh, I know who she is. I know who she is for sure. Don't get me wrong, but no, I have
let's see
no
where
idea.
she's from. Hold on.
I do not know if
Hold
she
on.
went to FSU, man.
No. She went to El Paso. But I know she has some kind of connection to Florida State. I feel like I saw that before. Anyways, enough of her. We have some people that have comments for you in the chat. Here we go. Grant Cohn, he says, Warner's contract is a mistake and Aziz is better. Are you willing to kind of jump off the ledge and go with that as well?
I'll say that just because I don't think off-ball linebackers is a premium position as I would pay for. I think like because of that, like paying a guy like Fred Warner, do you want to pay him? Yeah. And is it kind of hindsight now? Because like at the time I was saying they should pay him, right? And it is a little hindsight 2020, but like looking back on it, seeing what you can get, the value at the position, I think it was a mistake because they did pay him so much money. Like seeing what you can get out of Aziz Al-Shaair, it's just like makes
that's the tough thing with paying linebackers and running backs. Those positions are so plug and play. But I would say Fred Warner, while he might not be Patrick Willis or Navarre Bowman, he's really good and he affects the game in more ways than just being a linebacker. He's a coverage guy. He's good in space. I know coverage numbers for linebackers typically aren't great, but I think a lot of it is, especially depending on the scheme, dropping into zones, a ball getting caught near you, you go make the tackle, you're dinged for that catch, so the completion percentage against you is high and all that. But I think
if you look at off-ball linebacker, like receiving stats, it's awful, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
I don't worry about any of that. Yeah. I look at it from an energy standpoint, a leadership standpoint, and what he is able to do at any moment with, potentially being able to force takeaways, being able to run vertically with receivers from the 3 spot, those type of things. I think, you need that in what he brings from a leadership standpoint on that defense. He's all that and more. But Aziz, awesome. Hopefully they bring him back. He should be a guy that they look to lock up for another 3 years right now. Go do that right now. Absolutely. He's been with the 49ers the entire time, and he's one of their homegrown guys. So you've developed him. He's into a guy who knows what you want. You know what you're getting from him. He's a legit starter. Definitely got to bring him back. Meyer works for Grant Cohn and SI. I don't know.
Okay. That's me. I'm Ben Myers and I work for Grant Cohn. Sure. Okay. That doesn't mean like, I don't know. Crocs work with Grant Cohn. Jason Aponte works with Grant Cohn. You want to hate on those guys too? Like, come on, man. I know people love to hate on Grant, but you know what? I'll say like for all the crap Grant gets, and I know you know this for sure, Croc. He gives so many people opportunities, and like people like me, right, who just wouldn't have or otherwise met people like you or all kinds of stuff. So hey, shout out to Grant. Honestly, shout out to Grant.
Nah, he does his thing, and I think one thing I try to tell people all the time, I understand the entertainment aspect of things, And Grant Cohn is definitely someone who has that
Absolutely.
down. He understands the entertainment aspect of the business and, between journalism and, understanding how to build a brand, which he's done an amazing job of. So I always tell people, whether you like him or not, most people like him or not, they tune in. And in a sense, that's what, is easy. One thing about the business aspect of things and entertainment, they want you to be way far this way or way far the other way. They don't want you to be Eric Crocker, who's in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no big value with Eric Crocker aside from people that like to listen to a different perspective from the game and coaches and things like that. But it's going to take me much longer to build my platform because it is more in the middle. I don't go this way or that way, right? I'm just right in the middle. Well, Grant Cohn, he's so far this way, but that is what people they tune in for. And that's why his platform is growing so much. And it has been awesome to see what he's done for y'all. Now, again, that is a statement based on whether I like what he says or not. It don't matter. I respect it and I get what he does. So that's great stuff for him. Folks getting on us for trading Buckner, then say stuff like we shouldn't pay a guy. There are no good convos. Melv Hunter always bring up Grant. Weird. All right, so this is a great point, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a great point because a lot of people are like, oh, don't pay a guy this and that, and they're not worth it. And I think if you look at what Buckner has done this year, that might be in the category of saying, oh, he's overpaid, pay him too much, maybe pay this guy, right? So I think one way to maybe look at it is NFL players, depending on their position, can have a season where they are more impactful than the next. And you kind of have to factor that in to paying them. But in the process of that, understand that maybe I'm not paying him just for this. I'm paying him for what he could do on the field as well as what he brings off the field. How big of a part does Fred Warner play in Aziz?
Yeah.
Those are things that, we don't quite know how to.
Well, and I think the Buckner thing versus Warner, real quick, just to like touch on that. I just think with Buckner, because of the value you get out of him by playing him with Nick Bosa and getting the productivity you do and the dominance you do out of that line, I think no question it would have been worth it to pay him. But I struggle with the Warner thing a little bit more just because it is a position, like you were saying, Croc, where you can find those plug and play guys. So as much as I think Warner is probably worth it, I'm just like not sure if he's 100% worth it for the 49ers in the long run. That to me is the thing of like, I think you had to pay him because honestly, looking at the leadership they have on this team, looking at like the locker room construction, getting rid of Fred Warner would have been insane. But it's just one of those things now that it's tough to look back on because it's a position where you don't want to pay a guy that much. I mean, you can only spread out your money so much, and it's going to get really interesting over the next few seasons when they have these guys come up for big contracts. Fred Warner was huge last season, man. I think he deserved that contract. I'll say that. Like at the time, I think like when everything happened, how it happened with Warner, I was happy. I know 49ers fans were. So like it is a little hindsight, but it's just tough. It's one of those things, right? You want to see how it goes over the next few years.
Well, and I will say this, and this might be overlooked, and we'll find out how much of an impact he has on this season. But there's been so much turnover on the defensive line in the secondary, and obviously, he had been banged up at different times. But I don't think that I think that him being the starting linebacker helps kind of hold some things together. And that might be, again, another thing that people are kind of overlooking the aspect of this defense. For all the talk, and I'm on here talking about all the time, it's not bad. It's actually a good defense. Why is it a good defense, though? You can't just say, well, Nick Bosa. That's not the only reason why. There has to be something that Fred Warner is doing as well that's contributing to this being a top 5, top 10 defense when really it has no business being that good and playing at the high. Again, I talk about the Bengals game. People, oh, man, the cornerbacks, man, the Bengals had 6 points heading into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a high-powered offense. They put up points.
Yeah.
And they scored 2 touchdowns.
Even in the games that the 49ers have lost recently, it's not like the defense is the one losing the game, Croc. Like, I don't know. Looking back on the season, I don't feel like you can go back to many games where you feel like, hey, the 49ers defense is the reason they lost this game. Like, no, it's because of a bunch of like, hey, our special teams like had freaking 3 turnovers today, or Jimmy is going to throw 2 picks, or anything like that, right? I don't think you can pin things on the defense this year necessarily. And I think they're getting more crap than they deserve, absolutely. Like, this defense is it's a lot better than people give it credit for. I think it's just disappointing that like, oh, they could have still had a guy like Buckner around instead of Armstead, and this defense would be like great right now if they did have him, right? That's the one thing that is just a little, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. All right, Ben, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Tell everybody where they can find you. Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Do you have your name on your thing? Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I think I do. Oh, yeah, I do, I think.
Here we go. So that's where you guys can find Ben and myself on Twitter, at Eric_Crocker, at Ben Meyerson, or by Ben Meyerson, excuse me, on Twitter. So make sure you guys shoot him a follow, man. Shoot him a follow right now. Grab that Twitter handle. Get my guy a follow, man. I love listening to you talk 49 football. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Oh, I always appreciate the time, Croc. Thanks for helping me through that little therapy session with FSU too, man. I'm just
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how much I'm gonna help you, but y'all gonna be sorry for a long time. But don't worry, don't feel bad. They're kind of rivals over there in the ACC. You got Miami; they're kind of trending in the same direction, so it could be worse.
Hey, it's not like UF and Miami are very good right now, so at least there's that, right?
Yeah. All right, man. I see you.
Peace out, Croc.
All right, man. I appreciate everybody that has contributed to the show. Got my mom in here. Y'all say good morning. You know what I'm saying? My mom doesn't know. I don't even know if I'm supposed to tell her, but I know we're going down for your birthday, Mom. But we are also coming down. We're spending Christmas Eve with Mom and Poppy, and then Christmas Eve evening, we're coming down to stay with you. So I'll stay with you, and then we'll go to BJ's on Christmas Day. So I'll be seeing you Christmas Eve night, Christmas Eve evening. So make sure we got a blanket for me and the family. Love you, Mama. All right, appreciate everybody that's in the chat right now. Oh, here we go. Got some more super chats. Here we go. Bosa and Buckner would be 2 Hall of Famers on a defensive line. Man, I mean, you talk about those guys next to each other. That's so big time. That's for sure big time, for sure. We got a player that has a down year and boom, he shouldn't pay. I know, man. I don't agree with that. And I wouldn't even say a down year is just, it's not as loud. It's not as loud. Player has not as loud of a season, and it's like, oh, don't pay him. Nah, man. There's going to be a moment where Fred Warner, when we need it most, he's going to make those plays, and it's like, that's why we play him. And he keeps everybody else together. So, how do I watch the Niner games in Arkansas? I have NFL Sunday Ticket, so I'm able to watch that. The tough thing with Sunday Ticket is I'm usually like 2 plays behind, so I can't be like live tweeting or anything on Twitter. I got to wait to commercial breaks to kind of give my thoughts on a certain player or whatever, because I can't look at my phone. My chats be going crazy with my brother and them, so I know anytime my phone starts going crazy, something happens. So I turn my phones over, I put them on the ground, and I wait till commercial break to look at anything. Not an ideal way to watch football. Armstead moved inside has changed our run defense. Not just Armstead, but you got Armstead and Arden Key. Arden Key has moved inside, and he has been one of the better pass rushers in the league. Moved inside. He's like top 15, I believe it is, as a pass rusher since the 49ers moved him inside. So Arden Key, I know we don't talk about him, but that might have been a really good signing. Again, I talked about Arden Key as well. I spoke a little bit about him the other day. Arden Key, he played 37 games before being a 49er, before signing with the 49ers. 37 games he played, 3 total sacks. This year, 4 sacks. So he's having a career year. Maybe Bosa helps. Here's another one. How do you watch 90 games in Arkansas, Crocky? Yeah, definitely I watch the games. I got NFL Sunday Ticket. NFL Sunday Ticket. That's how I watch the 49er games. So appreciate everybody that's in here, everybody that stuck around, man. We were here long today, over 2 hours. Good Friday show. My predictions, and it's tough because the points. I'm saying don't bet with the points, but I am taking the 49ers 31-13. I think that's how the 49ers dominate this game. 31-13, 49ers win. I think they have too much on both sides of the ball. I am a little worried. That sometimes the 49ers can do some weird things to make this a game when it shouldn't be. But if 49ers are who I think they are, I say the 49ers pretty dominate this game. 31-13. Don't give Atlanta a chance. But I'm not putting money on that. But in there, man, until next time, man, I'll see y'all. Make sure, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Shout out to everybody that hung around for the entirety of this show. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Download the app. Get paid right now. I got people making money on the daily doing that. Manscaped.com, promo code Crocky. Go get your 20% off the entire site right now using my promo code, man, and we are out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.